What happens if an FAA agent comes to you while you're on your mission, while you're flying, to ask if they can do a on-site inspection? Well, the first thing you need is that you need to show them documentation. Okay, so what kind of documentation you might ask? Well, let's take a look at our slides. Okay, so there are actually really four parts of documentations you really need. Okay, number one is the FAA required. Okay, number one, obviously, you need your pilot certificate, which is what we're working on right now. Once you finish this course and you go take that written test and you pass, you will have your pilot certificate. Okay, it's an actual hard copy certificate. Okay, the next thing you need to have is the aircraft registration. Okay, so that's whatever the unique identifier you have with your drone. Okay, so here's my drone. This is my Phantom 3 I don't use anymore. So you must register all the UAS that you have that you're gonna fly with. Okay, so the next thing you need is actually any necessary waiver or exemption. Okay, so in the previous video we talked about applying for a waiver if you're unable to fly under Part 107 rules. So you have to apply for a waiver first. Once you get that and you're flying in whatever situation that you applied for, say it's at night, you need to have that waiver form. Okay, and the last thing that's FAA required is other documentations related to the operation. Okay, so it kind of gets scary when the FAA tells you other documentation. Okay, so all we can think of right now are some of the documentations like weather. Did you do your homework on, okay, today I'm gonna fly, and did I check the weather? Okay, that's number one. Number two is actually like it's their surroundings. Okay, you have to figure out, okay, 200 feet that way, east of where I'm flying, there's a tower, or there's a power line. Okay, you have to know your surroundings, and you can't just be like, oh, I read it, I saw Google Maps, and I know. No, you actually have to document it so that you can prove it. Okay, the whole point is to cover your bases. Okay, you want to make sure you can prove that you know what you're doing. Okay, you can't just say, oh, I saw it, I read it, I understand. Okay, you have to prove it. Okay, so moving on to number two, repair. Okay, so if my drone breaks or I want to fix something, I must always document my repair. Okay, any repair, modification, overhaul, or replacement of a system component resulting from normal flight operations. Okay, so that goes with the propellers, anything. Okay, you have to make sure you log what you do to your drone. Okay, and the next thing, you have to log time. Okay, so after you log your maintenance and everything, you have to log time. You log time whenever you fly, whenever you land. Pretty simple. You have to record the time in service for that component at the time of maintenance procedure. Okay, you have to assess these records over time to establish a reliable maintenance schedule for the SUAS and its components. So what is this telling you? It's telling you that logging your flight time is important, but on top of that, you should also come up with a maintenance schedule. Okay, so every month you clean out the motors, something like that. Okay, you have to make sure you have a routine. Okay, you have the routine of cleaning and maintaining your schedule. Not your schedule, your SUAS. Okay, to give you an example why this is important for the FAA and for yourself is that, say I have an airplane, one of those Cessnas 175s, whatever you call them. That airplane is worthless if it did not have its maintenance log. Okay, because these little airplanes are actually, some of them are built in the 1970s. Okay, they're still flying today. They work fine, but they are worthless or worth a lot less versus one that's has a full documentation of its maintenance. Okay, so same thing goes with your drone. You need to have your maintenance log so that maybe in the future your buyer wants to buy your drone, and you show them, hey, here's my maintenance log. They look at it, oh, this guy seems legit, this drone looks fine, and you can actually have a better value in your sale. Okay, so the last documentation you need is actually the unique ID. Okay, so we talked about aircraft registration, right? So once you register your drone, you're actually going to get a unique ID that you have to print out and actually stick it on your drone. Okay, some people put it up here. It has to be able. You have to be able to access them without tools. Okay, so if you can't, unscrew the top and put it inside, you must put it somewhere that's visible or somewhere accessible without tools. Okay, so for example, it might be in here, right? You can put it in here. You can't put it on the battery because you switch it around, right? You have different batteries, I'm assuming. Okay, but so you can put your unique ID inside your drone. Okay, so that's all it's telling you. Now you probably wonder, okay, I have to log time, I have to document my repair. So what do I really have to put in my logbook, right? So here are some examples. Number one, you must put in your small unmanned aircraft registration numbers. Okay, so you might have more drones. You have like 2 or 3 multiple drones, right? So you want to actually document all the different drones that you do repair on and maintenance on, right? You want to document how your control station is set up, right? Launch and recovery equipment, so landing pad and things like that. Any data link equipment, so anything that enhances your data link between your drone and your controller. Payload, right? If you're moving, if you're delivering things with your drone, you need to also document that. Okay, your payload is important. And the last thing are any other components required to safely operate the SUAS. Okay, it's basically what it's telling you. It's write everything down. Anything you do, any little actions you take, write it down. Okay, because it helps you cover your bases. Okay, so if one pilot is flying for the last 2 to 3 years and he's been documenting everything, say something bad happens, they get sued, you have the ability to cover yourself. You have the ability to prove that, okay, I've been following rules in the last 2 to 3 years. This is my logbook. They can look at it, right? So it kind of covers you for the future, right? I know it's a tedious task to do, like writing down every single detail, but it's for prevention. Okay, think of it as prevention. It's for the future. Okay. Now, straight from the FAA, careful. This is not me. Okay, this is not me telling you. Straight from the FAA, careful record keeping can be highly beneficial for SUAS owners and operators. For example, record keeping provides essential safety support for commercial operators who may experience rapidly accumulated flight operation hours and cycles. Okay, so it's basically telling you log everything. The FAA is basically telling you that. Okay, not me. Okay, I also want you to do it, but consider maintaining a hard copy and/or electronic logbook of all periodic inspections, maintenance, preventive maintenance, repairs, and alterations performed on the SUAS. Okay, again, this is not me telling you. This is actually the FAA suggesting you to do that. Okay, so make sure you do that. In our next video, we're actually going to talk about night operation. I'll see you guys in the next video.